Hey everyone. Since it's been about like roughly 3 months, I'm kind of hitting the 3 month mark now of since I've moved to Connecticut, and you can also see in the title I've had a recent trip to Long Island. So I thought I'd maybe kind of tell you about how things are, how Connecticut life has been for me, and basically give you an idea of some things that have even changed for me since the move and how I feel about things with Connecticut and Long Island. All right. So it's kind of I've already talked to a couple of friends about this already, so they're probably already going to know what I'm going to say. But there's also some details within this subject that I haven't really mentioned yet. So I thought I'd kind of cover those for you as well. Just to start off as a little side note, it's not the most obvious change, but I got new glasses. I got them changed around, I think, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, roughly. And as a matter of fact, I still have my old glasses. Here they are. These are the ones that you always saw me wear in all the other videos that have been posted on here before. Now, just a quick history here. I started wearing glasses in 2002, roughly October or November, okay? You see these frames? Okay? These frames are from 2002. That's right. I've had my original frames ever since I first had these. And the lenses themselves were updated in March of '09, but ever since then it hasn't changed one bit. But these frames are now 15 years old, and I've kept them in great shape. So not many people do that, huh? But I got these new ones, and they're great. The lenses are a little bit larger, so more area to see, like less interference. Even though these didn't have much to begin with, these are much better. I'm very happy with them. Okay, so now I got the little part of history done for you. Okay. So for some of you who may be new here, I moved from Long Island to Connecticut around the second week of August, I believe. And I had a whole video talking about the move in a video called in 2017, which you can check out on your own time. So basically, so about this move, okay, and how life has been here since then. The interesting thing is that when I officially started driving here for the move in August, I kept having these feelings that I was going to feel very strange or kind of upset that I was going to be driving away from the house and away from the Long Island neighborhood that I had lived in for 27 years. Amazingly, when I started driving that day, I just started driving here like it was nothing. And I'm doing the drives on the roads. I'm trying to find good songs on the radio, which is a job in itself these days. And and then as soon as I got here, I was just like, I got here, I put the car in the garage, and I was just like, okay, I'm here now. It's interesting how easily I was able to transition, or not, I shouldn't say that, move from there to here. And one of the interesting things about it, too, I think, is that, ever since I've been coming here to this house since, I think, March or April of last year, because that's when, at that part of the house's construction, the inside was just studs and plywood, okay? There was no, the windows were up and the roof was up, all that stuff, but there was no siding yet. The basement slab wasn't even down yet. And there was no plumbing, no electrical, nothing. Just studs and plywood. That was it. The structure itself was here, but you get the idea. So I already had an idea of like what the future was going to hold whenever that move was going to happen. And then, obviously since then, as things progressed, I came here again and again, just so I could see what was going on, just to correct any problems, like that cold water line going to the dishwasher. Some of you may remember that video. And so as I kept going here more and more, it was going to be less of a surprise, because since I was actually making trips here, it was showing me of what to expect as time was going on, so to say. Okay. And then, once the house was finished in August of last year, my parents closed on it in October of the same year. And ever since then, my mom and I have been making many trips here, like, bringing boxes of stuff from the Long Island house and bring them here. And then, when other projects, too many to list, were going on within this house, I would also come here with her at the same time, just so someone could watch them. When the Speed Queens got delivered here, we were there for that. So, all those trips to and from Long Island really really allowed me to get more familiar with everything because I got more familiar with the house. I got more familiar with the neighborhood, the surrounding areas, and that's part of the thing too. I've gone down multiple roads since that year, so I'm more familiar with places that are around. I found a Friendly's, I found Applebee's, things like that. Food stores, whether it be Stop and Shop, ShopRite. Well, that's the stores we really go to at the moment, but an Ace Hardware, Home Depot, things like that. So basically, since later that year, I've been able to really get familiar with everything. So then, fast forward to August of this year, when I officially moved here, I wasn't still a stranger to everything that was around me. I'm coming to a house to live in, and I'm already familiar with so much that's around me, especially by where my brother lives. So that really helped me make the transition much easier from being upset in 2017 video to now. It was just a much easier step to do, and it helped things go really well for me. So basically, the interesting part is around late last year. I don't remember what month. I'm going to guess October or November. It seems like I'm pointing out these months a lot, but that's just when I seem to remember things feeling a certain way. During those months, what was it? I could already feel that this house had the potential to feel like a home. And that was even before I made the 2017 video. I could already feel that, I could see myself coming into the house from being out, whether it be for, work purposes or just out eating, and coming in and saying, yeah, this is a home, So that feeling that just came to me by itself last year was another thing that made the transition to here really, really well. So for a general overview of how Connecticut life has been for me, it's been good. Like I said, I've gone to a few places now. I've gotten more familiar with the area. I've gone to some towns outside of where I live, and so to get more familiar with those, I went to a lot of places. So, I've really traveled around a lot. I found some shopping malls. You get the idea. I've gone around a lot to find different places, and just doing that was great because it really gets you to know the area, and like I said, you don't feel like you're a stranger that doesn't belong. And what was I going to add to that? Let me see if I can remember. I can't remember. But you get the idea, you know what I'm saying? So, okay. So, as you see, I recently had a trip back to Long Island. I was thinking about bringing my camera for that, but what the reason why I went there for, I just did not have the time. What happened was just this past, today's Saturday, just yesterday, three things were happening at the Long Island house. The pool, the sprinkler system, and the cabana were all getting winterized on that day. And my dad's still working down there, so he asked me if I could just come down to check everything that's going on and make sure it all goes well, just so it's all done correctly, for the following year. And basically what I did was, what was I going to say? I was pretty excited for this trip. The reason why I say that is because for the past maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I was getting these kind of homesick feelings being away from Long Island. I don't mean homesick getting the better of me, but I just kind of had the house on my mind and just the Long Island area that I'm familiar with. I was just I feel like I need to see it again just because it's been so long since I've last seen it. Well, I got my chance this past Friday. Oh no, Thursday was when I went there, on Thursday. And so when I went back there on Thursday, I drove to Bridgeport. I took the ferry to Port Jefferson, and then drove around there. It was kind of interesting being back on Long Island, seeing the areas again, and just kind of yeah, wow, this was the home for so many years, and it's not far away, but it was really cool to see everything again. So, like I said, it was a busy time that Thursday. As soon as I got back to the Long Island house on Thursday, I just kind of got out of the car and looked, and I'm just wow. But I got right to work because, believe it or not, the cabana, well, obviously, the cabana, the pool, and the sprinkler system were still running. And we've never had them running in November, but the problem was we just didn't have the time to get stuff done until then. So I got right to work as soon as I got to the Long Island house. I went to the backyard. I got some residual rainwater off the solar cover. I opened the solar cover, looked in the pool. My dad, by the way, took amazing care of the pool and the pool equipment, which was great. When I got to the house, the pool equipment was running and everything looked great. The pump was clean. There were no leaks, nothing. So I was very happy to see that. So like I said, I immediately got there. I opened the pool cover. I shut off the pool equipment. I took out the pool cleaner, the Polaris that I repaired those belts on. You remember? And then and then at some point I had to go inside the house. And the house, I got a whole story myself. I'll get to in a bit. Inside the house, I went down to the basement. I shut off the sprinkler valve, the cabana's water valve, and then I went into the cabana. Went underneath the sink, drained the water heater, took off the hose, took the hose off the spigot, opened that to let residual water drain out, and then I started lowering the pool water to get below the skimmers. So I did a lot in that short amount of time, and basically one of the reasons why I was doing that so fast was because Jay and I actually had plans to see each other because I told him I was going to be back on Long Island for a couple of days. Maybe we should meet up, and we did, and it was great. Now let me, I'll get to that a little bit, but let me go to the house, for example, okay? Like I said, I was getting kind of homesick feelings, just kind of missing Long Island and the house. I'm wondering, how's it look? What's going on with it, So I went inside the house, and it's all staged, meaning there's a lot of furniture in there that's not ours. It's just there to make it presentable for potential buyers. And it was very interesting. I mean, the house smelled different than it used to. Most of the rooms look different because of the stage settings. And I think I've gotten used to a lot of the size differences of the Connecticut house, because I went into my room on the Long Island house and I was like, gee, this looks smaller than I remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt much different than it used to. And I walked around the guest room, walked all around. I did some checks, like I checked the slant fin boiler that I made the video on a few years ago, but that was doing just fine. There was no problems there with its operation. And so I was happy to see that. And, I'm just checking the whirlpools, they're still there. And just kind of walking around and just getting all the memories, I guess you could say. Now, in regards to these thoughts I was having, okay, it kind of hit me as I was working on the pool and, opening the cover and lowering the the pool water in the cover. Oh my gosh, the pool water in the pool, okay. It kind of hit me, like, back in August, I was walking around the backyard and talking about someone's, wonders about the house, and those feelings kind of went away. When I was working on the pool and getting it ready for winterization, it just kind of hit me. It's like I'm looking around the backyard, I'm looking at the pool and the house, I'm like, I pretty much accepted that it's time for someone else to have that house and pool now. It really is. As great as that house has been for my childhood and taking care of the pool, how fun that's been, I have come to realize and accept that it's time for another family to have that house. So I guess you could say that that Connecticut definitely really did kind of win me over in terms of feeling like a home, because don't get me wrong, I still love my childhood home and everything about it and the neighborhood, but I just kind of accepted that, yeah, it's time. I lived there for 27 years, which was awesome, and it's a good time for it to have new life. And my dad kind of mentioned, when you think about it, the house is too big just for us. And he's right, because there was only 3 people living in there now for the majority of the time. And for the house the size that house is, 3 people is just, it's too big for that many people. So yeah, it's another reason why, the move happened. Now, I mean, this room in general is larger than my old room. You can tell because the traffic light may look smaller than it used to, but trust me, it's the same one. It's just not as close as it used to be. Okay. And so, I'm just kind of, I have that set in my mind. So that trip was what I needed. It made me feel so much better about things, and just how, the homesick feelings I was having, they went right away completely when those thoughts crossed my mind. And as I'm walking around the backyard, I'm kind of having, memories in my mind of all the pool parties and the summers that we used to have, which was great. In fact, if what I was doing was a scene in a movie, it would probably show me walking around the property, and then the camera angle would change, and then it would transition from the present into let's say, I don't know, 1997, And then, like, we'll show a time when we were having all these pool parties. I had friends over. It was the summer, grilling things in the cabana. You get the idea. And I think I can. I realize that that's not going away. It's just going to be part of a different family whenever whoever buys the house in the future. So I think the move itself kind of helped me with that. Was that it really helped me accept these changes and just realize that, like I said, it's time for that house to have new life. And probably the fact that I've been familiar with this area and this house has felt like a home for me in general, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I think that's what helped the overall transition as well, is because, I feel good here, I feel settled in. So, and the Long Island trip helped me satisfy some feelings I was having. Let me say that again. Help satisfy these feelings I was having. There we go. And like I said, the homesick feelings went away completely after that, so it was just what I needed. Like I said, I'll always remember my childhood home and all the good memories of that home. And my mom said, that's a good thing to have. So, and that's very important, even though the house in the future is going to belong to someone else, the memories you have of it will never go away. And it's true, I'm very happy that I have them. And I got tons of videos, not on YouTube, but like on our old VHS tapes, our family VHS tapes of things like that, so it's good. This trip really helped, I think, reaffirm me of things, if that's the right word to use, that everything's okay, and I feel much better than I did around, let's say, July or August of this year. I feel better even now than I did before I went back to Long Island for those couple of days. So in regards to the area around me, I did see some changes around my area. Like, for example, a car service place became an AutoZone store. There was this vacant property that used to be Eddie's Trailer Sales. Do you guys remember that company? I don't know if they were Long Island only, but there was a company called Eddie's Trailer Sales, okay? Then I think around 06 or 07 they closed, and that property remained vacant for years. In fact, the structures were starting to deteriorate. They demolished those, and then for several years, for quite a few years now, probably 10 years, I would say, or maybe a little bit less, the property was just completely vacant. And then when I drove past there, when I was visiting, someone bought the property, and they're actually building a Dairy Queen there now. So it's like that changed. There's also some changes. What other changes did I see? Over on Route 110, there apparently was a golf course that used to be there for a long time, but they took it down completely, I guess because no one was using it anymore. And they're building something there. They're putting in dry wells, but that's the most that I saw. But anyway, so I went to go visit Jay. And, I spent some time at his place after I took care of all the stuff I had to at this house. And, we did our usual stuff, talked to him, told him how Connecticut is going, and basically the stuff I just told you in this video, pretty much the same stuff. And, we had good talks about it, about moves and about new areas and things like that. One of the, let's see, where was I going here? I told him, like, one of the big things is, like, no, what am I saying here? Sorry. And, I told him, like, when he came up here that time to see me, that was fun in itself. I think that also kind of helped me get more used to the house, was having, him there, having a friend of mine here, that also helped times like that. And, like, we're also talking about just basic stuff that we always talk about. I can't even list them here for you because it's such a long thing. But, we had enjoyable times like that, so that worked out really well. And, then the next day, the sprinkler system, the pool, and the cabana were all winterized. That was good. And then my dad and I went to go have dinner over at an IHOP. And then after that, I saw a couple of other friends that I knew from there, and then went back to the house, and then just today I drove back here. So, it was time well spent. It really made me feel better about many things. Many things since the move, things I feel much better about. And as a matter of fact, I was talking with Harley Badger recently, who he had the same thing. He lived in a house for a long time, and then when the move was coming up, he was upset about it initially. So, it's always nice when you have people to talk to who have been in those kinds of similar situations. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they know or they understand what you're going through. And when you can talk to someone about that, that makes things that much better, and it's really a great thing to do. It makes you yourself feel so much better. And like I said, guys, this house has felt like a home, and it still does, obviously, and it's worked out very well. So I guess you could say Connecticut life has been very good. Like I said, not to repeat myself, but I've gotten more familiar with everything. I was already familiar with a lot of areas before I even moved here, which was a big help. And plus, I have my brother, my sister-in-law, and my two nieces about just a few minutes down the road. Well, roughly 10 minutes down the road. So, I can see them at any time if I want. In fact, my brother always encourages me to go visit him because he's so happy now that for the longest time, I'm finally living, for the most part, right by him. Like I said, 10-minute drive, but compare that to like 2.5 to 3 hours. That's a big difference. So he's much happier that I'm a much closer distance to him now. And I also decided to visit where I used to work when I was on Long Island. And it was great. I visited there. I met many people I used to work with. I talked with them for a while, had good conversations with them. So that was also a good thing, too. I also wanted to go visit there and talk to people that I knew. And that also helped the trip. You know what I'm saying? While I was on Long Island, I was making my trip as worthwhile as I could. I was going to see as many people as I remember and just, walk around the house like I did, walk around the property, check everything out again. And like I said, it cleared up many feelings that I was feeling, and it made the entire time that much better. And about me living here now, it made it that much better as well. So it was worth it, and it was a great thing to do. I really enjoyed it. And Connecticut life has been very good. I'm more used to the hills now around here too, compared to Long Island, which is really flat. So you get the idea. Anyway, guys, thought I'd give you a life update about that. I know I've made several videos about Connecticut life and the move and things like that. So long story short, things are good. This feels like a home, which I'm happy about. And the Long Island trip was great, just what I needed. And like I said, I can't accept the fact now that it's time for that house to have new people, Like I said, I love taking care of the pool. I loved all the time I spent in that house, but I can't accept that it's time for new people to move there. So hopefully the people that do will take good care of it. That's the one thing I hope for. All right, guys, well, there you have it. Good life update, and things are good, and I'm very happy, okay? So I'm sure many of you wanted to know that, so did it just for you. So there you go, all right? Thank you very much for watching, and take care.